All right, hey everyone, Jeff here at StopThePirates.blogspot.com. It is April 14th, 2016, and something that kind of bothers me, I guess, is you get all these people out here in the so-called patriot movement or whatever, and they keep harping on the Constitution. And I'm trying to figure out, you got like Oath Keepers and, of course, InfoWars, Alex Jones. They really keep kind of harping on the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution. And this is our founding document. But all you have to do is kind of the tiniest little bit of research to find out that, we're not under any type of a Constitution. I mean, not as they would have us believe it. This is this fantastic document that just tells the whole world that these founding fathers made this thing behind closed doors and came out and said, here you go, and then they gave it to, I guess, the King of England and said, we declare our independence and here's our Constitution. In a law dictionary, a Constitution passes debts onto a constitutor. It's kind of like an IOU. And so it's interesting to me that, and I'm trying to figure out, are these guys on some kind of a mindfuck deal where they want the American public to believe that we do have this so-called Constitution, and this grants us and guarantees us any kind of rights and liberties or anything like that. And I mean, are they just fucking stupid? I mean, that's basically what it boils down to with me, because I can't figure it out. I mean, we've long from been under a Constitution. I mean, the Civil War in 1860, you have to say right there it was over with the Act of 1871 and the Emergency War Powers Act. And it was basically over when South Carolina said, hey, we want out. And the Crown Corporation and the District of Columbia said, no, we're going to war. So, and after the Civil War, there was not a deliberative body to reconvene Congress. And everybody should know this shit. I shouldn't have to come out here and say this. This should be taught in school, but obviously it's not. They couldn't reconvene Congress, so it ended sine die. That was it. That was the end of the Constitution, end of the country, end of the whole fucking thing. Boom, we're starting from scratch. We're starting over. We're going to make the whole thing a multinational corporation. The states are now going to be incorporated through us, and that's what we have today. And the U.S. citizens are bonded chattel debt slaves under military occupation. Okay? I mean, that's just it. If you think you have rights, a good example of this was Jesse Ventura got groped at by the TSA at an airport. So he, under the clause of a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights, he took that to a federal court and tried to sue the TSA, and they threw it out because they said they don't have jurisdiction over that. Go into any one of these foreign courtrooms, which are pirate ships in dry dock, and try and ask them that you want your constitutional rights. And then they'll put contempt charges on you because there is no Constitution. I mean, there is, but the Constitution just was basically like an IOU to the king saying, we're going to repay our debts to you. That's why the courts are banks administering for the bankruptcy of the U.S. corporation through statutes and codes. That's where they get the money. Why do you think there's a monetary value on every crime? All crimes are commercial. So, and there's a famous case, I forget what it is, but they said, yes, the Constitution of the United States is a compact. Yes, it is, but you're not a party to it. They owed money to the King of England. So they had a convention in Philadelphia, and they all sat down behind closed doors and said, hey, what are we going to do here? Well, we're going to take care of ourselves, obviously. We're the aristocracy. And we're going to put the debts on the states and the people eventually. So that's just what kind of bugs me about the whole thing with this Constitution talk. Is that, are these people like in on something? Is it that much of a deep mind fuck? I think it probably is. Like oath keepers, or you're going to keep the oath to the Constitution. If you're going to say you're going to pledge an oath to the Constitution, what you're really pledging an oath to is saying, I'm going to uphold and defend the Constitution, which is we owe the crown money, so I'm going to protect that, and I'm going to make sure the crown gets their money. That's what like federal judges and shit do. And people go, oh, hey, you're not defending the Constitution. Yeah, they are. That's exactly what they're doing. Because that's what the document says. It says, hey, we the aristocracy here in the United States, we're going to go ahead and run this whole scam down here. So we're going to take care of ourselves. And we're going to put ourselves out there as the leader of these people. Who, let's face it, people back in the 1770s were not probably the smartest people in the world. Very low IQs, farmers, whatever. And all of these founding fathers were basically rich kids and lawyers. So, esquires, which is a title of nobility from the Queen. So look, the whole thing's a mind fuck anyway. And I just hope people will kind of understand that, because there's so much information out here on this that I'll just say one thing here. The first couple lines of the Constitution state, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote general welfare, secure the blessings and liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. If you look at that today, now it's of the United States of America. So subtextually, what this really infers is, we, the ruling aristocracy, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings and liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the slaves without rights under federal control. Because people, the word people is capitalized, it's a proper noun, referring to a specific body of people. And if you look at the Constitution, you'll notice which letters are capitalized and which ones are. These were lawyers, by the way, so they knew what the fuck they were doing. So we're under military occupation. We're living on a tax farm. The United States Corporation is just a slave management company for the crown. And, you don't have any rights. And evidenced by the fact that if you did have like the right to vote or drive a car or travel or, just leave the plantation, you wouldn't have to register to get that right. You see what I'm saying? So you have to register to vote. You have to registrate. You have to submit an application for registration. You have to submit and apply. All these words mean something. So that's basically my point. I'll leave a link to a really good article by Michael Tessarian in the section down below there. And but we do have some remedies out here, and the best one out there is that there is no money to pay anything, and all your debts are prepaid. And they had to do that because everything is in a trust. And in a trust situation, you have three parties involved, and it happens that we are the beneficiaries of the trust. So, and they couldn't be both. They couldn't be the grantor of the trust and the beneficiary. So that's a good thing. So there are legal remedies for us to use. And so it's not all bad, but just as far as the Constitution is concerned, I just get sick of these people just harping on the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution. You have no constitutional rights. Look it up in Black's Law Dictionary, and they go, someone says that's unconstitutional. Look that word up. And it's not, and if you read the definition of that, it's just like going against the true meaning of the Constitution. It means absolutely nothing. There's no basis in law for something being unconstitutional. It's a multinational foreign corporation that can do what they want. You don't have to be a natural born citizen, and none of it. It's an all aristocracy oligarchy. And it's been going on since long time. So this is what they do. They go into countries and they do this. When do you think the British soldiers didn't leave till like 9 or 10 years after the war was over? Just like they do in Iraq. But the U.S. troops are still there. We're like, well, we didn't win. It looks like we lost, but we're still there. So they just go around the world doing this shit. And then they're going to set them up with a constitution and do the whole thing. Get them on the International Monetary Fund program, take out loans that they can never pay back, and enslave the people. That's what they do. That's how they roll. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. Go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com. Thanks.